Coffee. Good morning. My patrons on Patreons, my seekers, humans, heroes, angels, witches. Seekers, humans, heroes, angels, witches, immortals, mystics, gods, and goddesses. I know there are 8 of them. And everybody else on the internet, because this is a public edition. Once we're done recording here, we'll release it to the world on YouTube and have at it. Happy New Year. Hope you are all well. I am. I stayed home. It was lovely. I did some serious magic, miracles, mysticism, prayer, meditation, whatever you want to call it. I did it. It was wonderful. Perfectly timed. Watching the clock count down. And the moment we stepped into the new year, the prayer was said, the spell was cast, and the candle was lit. And so was I, so to speak, but, you know, not like, oh, let's go get lit, but I was lit up. It was really good. Some lovely interdimensional experiences, spiritual, mystical, blah, blah, blah. But let's just say tears of joy and love were shed. So it was a good thing. I feel good. Fell asleep on the couch. You know, oh yeah, you hard partier. You took a night nap, that's all. Night nap. Because when you're a creative type, sometimes you just grab your naps where you are. And speaking of creativity, oh, the best laid plans of mice and men. I have everything ready for the 8-card draw shadow reads. I was going to start them yesterday, and no, because it was a day of connecting with people that I needed to connect with. My roommate Lillian from college, the Boston Conservatory back in the 80s. We spent a good couple of hours. I read her. She needed a reading. I gave her a reading. Oh, and I'm doing 8-card draws, not just shadow reads for the channel, YouTube, etc. But I gave her an 8-card draw for the whole year of 2023 because I did one for myself and it sort of blew my mind. You know, it's like a practice warm-up. I was like, all right, practice warm-up? That's redundant, I guess. And my own was so like, oh my God, this is better. If I had chosen each of the cards like deliberately, it wouldn't have been as good as what hit the table. And I did one for her, and it was like big honka chonka puzzle pieces clicking into place. It was obvious. So I'll be offering that as a private read. 8-card draws, of course, depending on what the client's needs are, what it is that they want to know versus necessarily what they need to know. I'll pick those 8 decks, but you know, the usual suspects will be there as well, you know, the tarot and all that. So yeah, you want to book me for a read? We didn't time it. We recorded it on Zoom so that she would have a copy of it, of the whole conversation. And you know, we still live together in a studio apartment on the Fenway in Boston, so you know, we get each other pretty clearly. We had a really good time, and then of course the rest of the night I checked in with some friends and had some pretty lovely heart-to-heart conversations. It was great. Exactly. Oh, called my mom, you know, stuff like that. So good. So yeah, I'm starting the 8-card draws today. Everything's ready for it. I just got to put on the appropriate clothing, start on the lights, get the camera lined up, and go for it, which is fine. I don't mind working on a Sunday because muggles work from sun to sun, but witches work is never done. It's true. It's true. Even when we're sleeping, the magicals seem to be always at work, but I'm still in my jammies. You know, it is a Sunday. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling rested. I had my snuggle time with my kitty cats. At one point, I now will call it throning, where I will THRONING, throning, where I'll just be like, you know, sitting here meditating, all of a sudden one will come and sit like literally like right here. This pillow is literally right. And the other one sat here. At one point I was between Balthazar and Melchior, and I was like, I'm sitting on the throne of cats, not sitting on my cats. But you know what I mean? It was like, and then when I was doing the stuff over there where I record, so that's where all the majority of my magical stuff is, at least on the first floor. I'm gonna light a candle and all of that. I looked at the 2 chairs, and they're both sitting in perfect sphinxes. Now, Sabby, my oldest, is just like, I'm in bed. You kids have fun. To his younger brothers. So yeah, there's a bit of this Game of Thrones going on without, dragons. Can we do that with kitty cats? Game of Thrones with cats. Yeah, the Game of Thrones with cats. Because as soon as you get up, the cat's going to jump in your throne, right? Because they do that. Whatever. So let's talk today's astrological weather. Moon is in Taurus, thank God. Second house dynamic, life values, perfect, right? Stick to your guns on the inside, because it's trining, harmonious trine with the sun in Capricorn, but there's a lot going on in Capricorn, right? Mercury's retrograde in Capricorn. It's just a lot. So, today's a good day to slow and steady wins the race at, right? Whatever your success is today, just on the inside, Taurus moon, stay grounded, stay centered. Don't take anything personally. You may need to be a little bit stubborn, but obstinacy also means single pointed focus. Like when you really want something, or, that being stubborn has its positive side, right? Endurance might be another way of looking at that, right? Whatever. And that Capricorn, absolutely highest potential. We don't often see our highest potential until we've got to the top of the mountain, walking up that road, walking up that hill with maybe some problems. You have no idea how glad I am that Kate Bush got some amazing recognition last year. I hope she continues to. That woman has been the muse of my soul since 1980. So, in the interest of keeping this brief, too late. Let's do a little prayer, a little blessing, a little something, because then I'm going to get to work. In my life, my journey, I had to unplug myself from a lot of the secular things like days off. Why? Because most of my clients work. So when do they come to me for readings or spiritual counseling or whatever, a class, a workshop? It's on their days off. So I'll probably take a day off this week. I'm going to get as many of these readings done in a healthy, magnificent way, but in advance. So you may notice one a day, Aries will come out maybe today, and Taurus tomorrow, and Gemini. But before the moon goes full, all the rest of them may hit all at once, because I'm just trying to stay flexible, particularly in a new year vibe where there are so many potentials, right? The potentials. Every choice has a consequence, but it's not so much what we choose, it's why we choose it. The why is more important than the what. Because what we want changes. Why we want it needs to be addressed so that it can change and evolve, right? There's a difference between wanting a car to keep up with the neighbors, Kardashian or otherwise, and wanting to buy a car that really suits who you are and how you want to move through the world, right? It's the same car, right? It doesn't matter the actual make or model. Or any of that. So yeah, I'm gonna do my thing today. I'm gonna do what I love. What do I value? Well, I'm gonna say what do I value more, but one thing I truly value is my ability to create. I'm very, very blessed. I'm like this with the word lucky, because luck can change, but blessings, there's always a hidden blessing, which is why I do the 8-card draw shadow reads. But to see those 8-card draws in a personal reading where you could plug it into, for instance, the entire year. And, of course, I use the Macon mantra deck in every reading I do because it's just brilliant. My mantra is for receiving elation. I am born of infinite joy. And with the other cards that were involved, it all clicked in. I was like, oh, really? Is this the year? No, maybe. But let me not attach to outcomes. Maybe okay, whatever that means, let's find out, right? I don't necessarily have to be that character in the movie that goes into the haunted house Oh, I'm not afraid of haunted. You know the character. And the other one's like, don't go. I don't have that kind of vibe. But I'm willing to find out. Being a mystic, everybody likes the word mysticism. Thank you, Dr. Strange. Well, I'm sure Benedict Cumberbatch has a lot to do with that as of late. He's so handsome. He's also happily married. But it means you have to endure mystery. So, people say, "Oh, I like a good mystery." I'm like, yeah, except you don't know when where your keys are, or when that thing you really want is going to show up, and what you can do to speed it up. And you can't. You just got to kind of go with it. Life is a mystery, and everyone must stand alone. Madonna. All right. Oh God, I do start off the morning salty and get sweeter as the day goes on. So let's do our little prayer. Is there such a thing? Let's do a little prayer, a little breath meditation, and keep it simple, right? The best thing about slow and steady wins the race. You can also keep it simple. No, for right now, I am doing this. What will happen next? I don't know. We will see what happens once I am done doing this. One hoof at a time. Goats have hooves, right? Yeah. Right? Yeah, just checking. Don't want to get canceled for, misnaming animal feet, whatever. When I can certainly do what I do best. Using the grace of prayer that apparently was built into me in this life. Let's do this little prayer, little blessing. Please take a nice deep breath. And keep it simple. Keep it safe. Breathe. Still point. I call to our collective pantheons of the divine. Whoever's watching this, wherever they are watching it, all of our collective pantheons of the divine, our guides, masters, teachers, gods, goddesses, saints, angels, totems, healers, ancestors, and higher selves, all the way back to the divine singularity, the Tao without name, pregnant void, the mother of all source, to surround each and every one of us this day in a force field of light, containing and protecting our energy field so that we may see what's right in front of us without the regrets of the past or the anticipations of the future clouding that immediate moment, that we may choose wisely. Slow and steady wins the race, but being creative as well, taking our internal Taurus moon values, bedrock solid values, and making sure that every step we take feels right, is taking us a little bit closer. We don't have to run up that road, run up that hill. We can stroll. We can meander a bit. We can proceed. Just proceeding in the procession, making wise, loving, empowered decisions and choices, silently as well as perhaps the ones we want to announce to the world. May we be blessed with all that we need today, that all information and energy that comes to us in the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, mystical, higher planes, all of that psychic, intuitive, chakra stuff, may be done clearly, cleanly, and for the well-being of all. So when we get an inspiration, we can go, wow, that feels like an inspiration. Let's chew on that. Or let's take a step. Or let's take a nap. And no matter what anybody else wants us to do today, may we remember that it's our own values that can move forward today. We can move forward with our own values. It may not be what everybody else values, and that's okay. Because no one came into this life to play anybody else's role but our own. Our own highly individualized contracts, with very highly individualized curriculums, ensuring that we fulfill those contracts, which can be delayed, but not prevented. Sure, we can do it in other lives. We can do it next year. 2024, where we can just do whatever is right in front of us. That is a process, and that is a journey. And that is one that we think we know until we realize we never did know what it was all about, Alfie. So may we find the humor in the day as well. The humor in the hypocrisy, perhaps the humor in the ridiculousness of how complicated we make a rather simple process of spiritual evolution, awakening, whatever we want to call it, spirituality. But simple need not imply easy. Choose love. Well, again, I hear what you're saying, but even with them, yeah. Even with that happened, well, yeah. But in the words of the spiritual teacher and genius, Matt Kahn, whatever arises, love that, and help us. Bring us what we need to do that. That song on the radio, that synchronicity, makes us giggle a little bit. Or that says, yeah, no, you're right. You're right. You're not going to get confirmation of every step on the journey, but this one will give you. So just to let you know, you're in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. And you can't fuck up the divine plan. You just can't. The divine plan is so perfect, it includes your fuck ups. You could call it self-correcting. And on a personal note, take me by the hand today. You know what needs to be done way better than I do. That's why I ask every morning and give thanks every night before I go to bed for doing all that needs to be done for me, through me, for us, through us, on our behalf, that we may be the best that we can be. Fulfill our contracts. We came into this life. A new year begins. And when it's time for us to return home, may we do so. Mission accomplished in victory. For the well-being of all, with harm to none. As we will it, so let it be done. So let it be. And so it is. Goodness gracious. Under 20 minutes? It's a miracle. A true blue testicle. A miracle came true. I'm still me. Just because beautiful spiritual mystical poetry flies out my mouth every now and again doesn't mean I'm still not the fun one. I think it's because I'm the fun one, not that other stuff flows, right? Not so serious. Why so serious? Oh dear. Oh, Heath. Would have liked to have kissed you at some point, but whatever. Bareback Mountain. See, we can have fun on the journey too. Isn't that fun? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go hit myself with the pretty stick and get on camera. Although this lighting, I don't know, it's very, I can't remember the artist from the 80s, but you know, the light coming across the Venetian blinds, kind of feeling it. Feeling the fantasy. But it's 8:05 here in New York, AM, obviously. So if I can hit record by noon, I think that's a banner day. And let's see what happens next, because past couple of days I was going to start these 8-card draws. It didn't happen. So let's shake the dice, let's steal the rice and see what happens. And hopefully it's nice. I love you. Oh, and for those of you on YouTube, perfect time to subscribe to patreon.com/drawingthecircle. A whole new year, a whole lot of stuff you have access to in the past, depending upon level of subscription. But I really love it. And I love doing this. And I love all of you, even if I don't know your name. We're all in this together. But a highly individualized curriculum for each and every one of us that you just can't compare lives. Yeah. But we can find care and compassion and community. A lot of alliteration. I love you. Have a really, really good day, everybody. And of course, a happy, blessed, beautiful new year. Hail, farewell, and blessed, blessed be. Bye.